Hey guys, it's Bethany, and many of you may remember this hat that I made several years back now, I believe, back in 2018. I came up with this pattern for the autumn leaf hat, and I fell in love with it. I actually have since perfected it, and I've added a second color or even a third color into the mix. So I'm going to show you how to get this awesome look so that those leaves really pop on your hat. You can find some really cool yarn, like this one has the glitter specks in it. I used a cotton yarn for this one. This one was an acrylic mix that you can find that is the Karen Simply Soft. But I'm going to go in and show you in this tutorial not only how to add your second color and carry it all the way through your work, but you will make the warmest crochet hat around without having to add a liner. These things are so warm, they hold up perfectly in our Wisconsin winters. The other really cool thing about this is where the beginning of my round was. On this hat, you can see my seam. So in this tutorial, not only will I show you how to do a color change, but I will also show you how to carry the yarn, and I will show you how to get a seamless look. And then I have these cool tags that cover up the base seam that you could see without it. So it's just a really perfect option. I've also upgraded to these removable palms. So they just snap into place and you can change them out with other colors, which is really cool. And then if you have to wash your hat, you're not going to ruin your fur topper in the process. So this is the hat that I will be making on the tutorial. And so I will show you everything that you need to make this project. You really should be comfortable with front post and back post double crochets before you attempt this video. It's more intermediate to advanced, I would say, just because of the color changes. And I just show you row by row what your repeat is going to be and how to get this perfect seamless color change. So go ahead and grab your supplies and follow me along for the tutorial. Please be sure to like this video by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all of my current and future projects. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I am in love with this hat. I feel like I've really perfected it. It's super warm and you can make it super cozy and soft. But I'm definitely a fan. But let me know what you guys all think down in the comment section below. Here are the supplies that you will need. A crochet hook. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter. Scissors. A stitch marker. Yarn. And I prefer my main body to be more of the lighter worsted weight, so I like to use the baby yarn. It's also typically extra soft. Let's get started. To start us off, you want to create your slip stitch. And I like to keep my tension loose, so you want to make sure that while we're working on this bottom portion of your hat, you are keeping your tension very loose. I'm going to chain 6. And then we're going to work back in the back loops only. And again, you want to keep your tension loose for this. Okay, this is where we're going to chain 1, turn your work. My little coworkers are getting rowdy. All right, so we're going to slip stitch across, and we're just going to keep doing, we're going to repeat this row all the way until we're done with our brim of our hat. All right, so we're going to go into the back loop only. We don't want to go through both, and we don't want to go through the front. We just want that back loop. We're going to slip stitch all the way across, keeping your tension nice and loose. Chain 1, turn your work, and repeat that row. So you're going to make as many rows as you need to fit around your head. And I'll come back on and tell you how many I end up with. Okay, so I am back. I have finished working up the base of my hat. I ended up, if you count each row like this, just one side, I have 42 of the ribs. So that would mean 84 rows. And I finished so that I have flipped my work and my hook is over here, and you'll notice on the bottom that the string is over here, and you want to have your thread over on this side. So finish your rows so that you are facing this way. Now we're going to connect the base of our hat. So to do that, I have chained 1, I've turned my work. I am going to connect my front loop, and I'm going to slip stitch that. Make sure your work isn't twisted. And I'm going to work into the back loop, and I'm going to slip stitch all the way across, working from the front loop of the work and connecting it to the back loop. So you can see that there's the front loop and the back loop, and now I'm going to connect it to the back loop of my first set of chain stitches. And now we'll be able to crochet right over this. So you can pick which side you prefer. So if you loosen this up, you can either turn it inside out and work around this way, or you can leave this as the outside. It's personal preference, guys. I think I like to flip it and have this be on the outside. I am going to cover it with a tag anyway, so it's not going to be visible because I have these awesome leather tags. My boyfriend actually got me this as he bought a bunch of tags that have my business name on it, so I'm going to be covering that. Okay, so now we need to pick up 70 stitches all the way around the base of our hat, and I'm going to show you how to do this. My first chain 2 will count as my first double crochet stitch. So now I need to pick up 69 more, and I'm going to just work in between, picking up 69 stitches. So there's 2, and then I'm going to work in between. And I'm just going to crochet over the yarn. So there's 4. And just continue all the way around. So I'll meet up with you when I'm done. Okay, so I finished my 70 stitches, and I'm back around at the start to my chain 2. So what I'm going to do is, normally I would slip stitch and then chain 2, and then I would start my next row. But I'm going to show you how to completely eliminate that seam. So this is the magic here. All right, I'm kind of cheating, but that's okay. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to start like I would a back post double crochet if this had been connected. So I'm going to work right through here, yarn over, and then pull up my loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the remaining 2. So we're just going to keep going in the round, and that's how we're going to work this entire hat. So you will need your stitch marker just to keep everything set. All right, so I've done that. Now I'm going to do a back post double crochet in the second stitch. And then instead of finishing it, this is where I'm going to do my color change. So for the next stitch, we want to start our new leaf color. But to get a seamless color shift, you have to change over to your new yarn halfway through the stitch prior. So we're just going to go ahead and pull up that new color. I'm going to leave a long enough tail and just kind of forget about it here. Now we're going to do into our third stitch, we're going to do a front post double crochet with our new color. And I'm just holding the back. I'm not doing anything else with it right now. So again, we're only doing this one stitch in this color, so we're going to drop our yarn and pick up our main color, and then we're just going to continue on, and we're going to pull up the loop and finish that stitch with our main color. I'm going to tighten that down a little bit, and then before I get too far along, I want to add my stitch marker to this very first stitch. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to carry our color yarn. So this is the first part of the repeat, was 2 back post double crochets and then your front post double crochet. So to finish it out, we're going to do 7 back post double crochets, and then we're going to start that repeat all over with the 2 back post double crochets. Because of where our leaf falls in the pattern, and it starts right after the first 2 stitches, that's why I say our repeat starts with 2 back post double crochets, a front post double crochet, and 7 back post double crochets. Then we're going to do 2 more back post double crochets. I've gotten asked before on videos, why don't you just say 9 back post double crochets? Well, that's not the repeat. Okay, so we're not going to crochet over this yarn. We're going to stitch that in at the end. So we're going to do our 7 back post. So to do this, you want to work in front of this yarn, and we're going to go behind our work to do our back post double crochets, and we're just going to then loop over that the color. So I'm going to show you how I do this the whole way. So there's 1, and then it kind of locks in that color as we carry it across throughout our whole work, because it's going to carry throughout the whole hat. So there's 1. So again, we're going to go between the color and then through this post, and then lock in that stitch. It'll get easier the more you work with it. And then the nice thing is you keep this yarn over here and this yarn over here. There's no switching, getting it twisted up in your work. You just keep holding it to the back of your work. All right, so there was 2, 3, 4. So again, we're working behind there. 5. And see how it's locking it in? It just, you're stitching over it, but it stays behind your work. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the repeat. Now we're going to start over, and I'll show you my next front post double crochet just to show you how I tighten down and loosen my work. All right, so we're going to do 2 back post double crochets, but we're going to switch to our leaf color halfway through the 2nd back post double crochet, or your 9th in a row. So what I do is I always tighten it down, I pull on this, and then I stretch it, because you don't want to lose that stretch. But then that fixes your yarn back here so that it's just the right tension. So I'm going to just set this down. I'm going to pick up my new color, pull through, tighten down, and then I'm going to continue with my front post double crochet, switching to my main color halfway through. Okay, so go ahead and do that repeat all the way around, and I will meet back with you right at the end of the round. Okay, I'm finishing up my 7th stitch, so the final stitch of my repeat for the round. And now what we're going to do is just continue on into the next round. We're not going to slip stitch and connect. So to work this stitch, again, we're just going to do our for this round, our repeat is the 2 back post double crochets, and you're switching to your leaf color halfway through your second stitch. Oops. Okay. And again, we keep that color in front, this one in back. Tighten that down. I'm always making sure I keep my tension proper, because you do not want to get all the way through and then have a hat that isn't stretchy. So I tighten and then loosen. All right, so we did our 2 back post double crochets. I can put my stitch marker back in. Now we're going to do a front post double crochet, and we're going to switch to our main color halfway through. And then we're going to continue and do 7 back post double crochets, and then continue the repeat, starting with our 2 back post double crochets. So go ahead and finish this round, and I will meet you at the end. Oops, 1, 2. All right, so go ahead and finish that repeat all the way around, and I'll meet back with you at the end of the round. Okay, so for the next row, we're going to start our repeat with our 2 back post double crochets, switching to our leaf color halfway through the second stitch. And then we're going to start to increase our leaf. So what we want to do is we're going to switch to our leaf color. We're going to do a front post double crochet. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do another front post double crochet around that same post, switching over to our main color halfway through the stitch. I'm going to go ahead and place my marker again on that first stitch, and then we're going to continue on with the repeat by doing 7 back post double crochets, and then we will begin that repeat all the way across for the remainder of the round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Go ahead and continue that repeat with 2 back post double crochets, switching over to your leaf color halfway through the second stitch, and then do your 7 back post double crochet, or do your front post double crochet, chain 1, front post double crochet around the same post, and then the 7 back post double crochets. So I will meet back with you at the beginning of the next round. For our next round, we're going to continue that pattern. So we're going to do 2 back post double crochets to start, and we're going to switch to our leaf color halfway through the second stitch. And then we're going to continue to increase our leaf. So we want to do a front post double crochet decrease. And then we want to work a double crochet into the chain space. And this is where we're going to work right over that gray yarn, our main color. So we're going to pull up our loop, and we're just working right over it. So we're going to do our double crochet, then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do another double crochet right in that same chain space. Then we're going to do a front post double crochet, and we will switch over to our gray yarn, our main color, halfway through that stitch. So now you see we kind of tightened, or we locked in the gray yarn as we were working across. So we now want to finish the last 7 back post double crochets and then repeat that same round. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around, and I will meet back with you at the start of the next round. For our next row, we're going to start with our 2 back post double crochets, and we are going to switch to our leaf color halfway through the second stitch. We are once again going to increase our leaf. So we're going to do 2 front post double crochets, and then we're going to do a double crochet into the chain space. We're going to go right around that gray yarn, chain 1, do another double crochet in that same chain space, and then we're going to do 2 front post double crochets, switching over to our main color halfway through the second stitch. Again, locking in that gray as we go across right in the middle. Okay, now we want to do our 7 back post double crochets, and then we're going to repeat that all the way around. Continue that repeat, and I'll meet back with you at the start of the round. To start our next repeat, we want to do our 2 back post double crochets, switching over to our leaf color at the end of the second stitch. We're going to once again do our last increase row for our leaf. So we're going to do 3 front post double crochets, we're going to do a double crochet into the chain space, chain 1, and do another double crochet in that same chain space, followed by 3 front post double crochets, switching over to your main color at the end of the 3rd front post double crochet. We're going to finish up our round, or our repeat, with 7 back post double crochets, and then you will begin the repeat all over. Go ahead and complete the repeat, and I will meet you back at the end of the round. Okay, our next row is going to be pretty straightforward. So we're going to do 2 back post double crochets to start our repeat. And you're going to switch over to your leaf color after halfway through that second stitch. Next, we're going to do 8 front post double crochets. And you're going to switch to your main color halfway through your 8th front post double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and halfway through this one we're going to switch to our main color, and we will finish the repeat with 7 back post double crochets. So continue that repeat all the way around, and I will meet back with you at the start of the next round where we begin to decrease our first leaf and we start to introduce our second set of leaves. We are now to our decreasing row where we're going to start decreasing all of our leaves, and then we're actually going to start inserting our new leaf. So for this row, we are going to start with our 2 back post double crochets. Switch over to your new color, of course, at the end of the second stitch. And then for our first decrease, you're going to insert your hook over the first stitch, and once you pull up your loop, you're going to yarn over again and insert into the second stitch, and pull up your loop, and there's your first decrease. So we're going to do 4 decreases, I don't lock in the stitch for this since we're decreasing so many times, but you can. Now on your last decrease, make sure that you switch over to your main color before you finish the stitch. So now you can see the leaf forming. Next, we're going to do 4 back post double crochets. And you're going to switch to your second or third color. If you want to add a third color here, I'm going to stick with my blue just to keep this color change tutorial as simple as possible. But you would want to add in, if you're doing another color, you would want to simply add that on, same as we did with the blue, and then you'd have 3 working yarn until you got rid of your first color, your first add-on color. All right, so here's my 4th stitch. I am going to simply start it but not finish it, and now you're going to be doing that tightening and loosening a little bit more frequently. It's worth it though, I promise. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet. Whoops. And then again, switching over before you finish that stitch. And then you would do the remaining 2 back post double crochets, and then your repeat would start all over. So I will meet back with you at the end of the round. For this round, we're going to continue to decrease our first row of leaves. So we're going to start with our 2 back post double crochets, switching over to our second color at the end of the second stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 front post double crochet decreases. And we're going to switch over to our main color at the end of the second decrease. Okay, and then we're going to do our 4 back post double crochets, switching over to your next color. If you have a different color, you'd switch to that, whatever you're working up for this leaf. Then you're going to do your front post double crochet, switching back to your main color at the end of the stitch. And then you're going to do your 2 back post double crochets, and then your pattern will repeat. So go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around, and I'll meet back with you at the end of the round. For our next row, we're going to do 2 back post double crochets, switching to your leaf color at the end of the second stitch. Then we're going to do our final decrease of this leaf. Now at the end of this round, do not cut off. If you switch to a different color here, you still need to keep this color on for the next round. So do not cut it off after the final leaf for this round. So you want to keep this color on, and I will show you why. It will be a unique way to make sure that your color change goes smoothly. So then we'll go ahead and do our 4 back post double crochets, and then we're going to start to increase our next leaf. So 1, 2. So we're going to switch at the end of this 4th stitch to our new color. And if you guys want to see me do this again with 3 different colors to show you how that transition goes, I can. I just, again, wanted to keep it simple. Okay, so now we're going to do our front post double crochet, chain 1, and do another front post double crochet around the same stitch. And we're going to switch to our main color. end of that stitch. Okay, now we're going to do our last 2 back post double crochets, making sure to carry our yarn. And then you're going to repeat that pattern. So we'll start with our 2 back post double crochets, do our final decrease on the leaf, and then 4 back post double crochets, and then again with our front post double crochet, chain 1, front post double crochet. All right, so continue that on and I'll meet back with you at the end of the round. Okay, for this round, if you're switching to a whole new color, or if you did switch to a new color for these leaves, then this is where we're gonna finish with the first color here on those leaves. So we're gonna do our 2 back post double crochets. Now, instead of switching at the end of this stitch, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna complete all or both of the back post double crochets with your main color. You're gonna yarn over with your gray yarn or your main color. You're gonna start to do a back post double crochet around this leaf. But instead of drawing up the gray, this is where you have to draw up the blue. And you're gonna pull it through. Now this can be tricky, but this is the only way, otherwise the gray would show around the top of that leaf. So to do your seamless color change, it has to be done this way. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna yarn over with gray, and then you're gonna pull through both of the loops, and this can be tricky because this second loop is gonna wanna be tighter. So you just kind of have to work it through, and then you can tighten down the blue. Then you're gonna yarn over with gray and pull it all the way through. So this is how you're gonna get your seamless color change, and this is why you have to carry the yarn all the way around for this final row. And I will show you again because I wanna make sure that it can be tricky to understand, so I'm gonna work the next one with you on camera as well. But then we're gonna go ahead and do our 4 back post double crochets. Then we're going to continue to increase our leaf here. So we're going to drop that color. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet. We're going to do a double crochet in your chain space, chain 1, do another double crochet in that chain space, and then do another front post double crochet, switching to your main color towards the end. Tighten that down. And now you can do your 2 back post double crochets and repeat the pattern. So I'll start over with my 2 back post double crochets. And again, you're not switching over to that color at the end of the second one. So again, we're going to yarn over with our main color. We're going to do a back post double crochet, but instead of yarning over with our main color, we're going to yarn over with the color of your leaf. And then we'll yarn over with our main color, pull it through, and then pull it through again, and then you can tighten down that blue. So go ahead and finish that repeat all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of the round. All right, so in this row, I will be teaching you where you're going to cut off your first leaf color if you have a different color leaf than your second leaf. So I'll show you where to cut that off. Let's get started with this row. You're going to start by doing your 7 back post double crochets, switching to your new color at the end of your 7th stitch. Okay, so you're going to tighten it and then loosen it. Switch to your second leaf color. Again, you're still carrying your first leaf color at this point. Then we're going to do 2 front post double crochets, followed by a double crochet, chain stitch, double crochet, all in that same chain space. And then you're going to do 2 front post double crochets, ending that second front post double crochet by changing to your main color. Okay, and then you're going to finish your repeat with 2 back post double crochets. So now what you want to do is you want to finish your repeat all the way around. You want to do, you would do 7 back post double crochets again, but I'm going to show you on 1, 2, after you've done your third back post double crochet here, this is when you want to cut off the color of your first leaf. So let's say I was working with my main color, my first color leaf blue, and let's say these were green and I had a green yarn over here. So this is what I would do. I would finish out this back post double crochet first, and then I would cut off a tail of my first color yarn right above it. I would cut that out. I'd cut a tail nice and long, and then just put that on the inside of my hat and forget about it until the end. At the very end, you want to stitch it back and forth into your leaf, and I'll show you how I weave in my ends at the very end, but you can just leave it until the end, and then you're only working with your 2 colors until you get to your third leaf and you add a third color. So that's how we're going to do this. So again, I've already started the new repeat, of course, but you'd finish out the rest of that repeat by doing your 7 back post, doing your increase on your leaf, and the 2 back post double crochets, and then repeat that round. So I will meet you at the beginning of the next round. So this will be your final increase row for your second leaf. So you're going to start with 7 back post double crochets, increasing, you're going to start with 7 back post double crochets, switching to your second leaf color at the end of the 7th stitch. You're going to do 3 front post double crochets, followed by a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that chain space, and then you're going to finish out the leaf with your 3 front post double crochets, switching over to the main color halfway through the 3rd front post double crochet. Finish the round repeat with 2 back post double crochets, then begin your repeat over, and I will see you at the beginning of the next round. Begin your next row with 7 back post double crochets, switching to your leaf color halfway through the 7th back post double crochet. Do 8 front post double crochets, switching to your main color on the 8th, halfway through the 8th stitch. Now in this one, I'm showing you how I do it without tacking it like I did on the first set of leaves. So I'm just going to let that hang loose and just show you what that looks like. I loosen it a little bit. It's just not tacked in there like I did on the first set of leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out the round, the repeat I should say, with 2 back post double crochets. Then you're going to start all over from the beginning with 7 back post double crochets, 8 front post double crochets, and 2 back post double crochets. Continue that and I will meet you at the beginning of the next round. Okay, so for this round, it's going to be our first row of decreases on our second set of leaves. And this is actually going to be where we start our third section of leaves. So get your third color ready if you're going that route. If not, just follow along with me as we work our way around. And please ignore the barking dog. I record out in my sunroom, and so there's not much soundproofing here. Okay, so to start this round, you're going to do your 2 back post double crochets, and you're going to switch to your third leaf color at the end of your second back post double crochet. So this is where I would attach on a new color. I am only working with 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch to my second color. We're going to do a front post double crochet here, and halfway through it you're going to switch back to your main color to finish that out. Now you're going to go ahead and do 4 back post double crochets, switching to your second leaf color halfway through the stitch, halfway through your 4th back post double crochet. This is where there's more tightening and loosening, but trust me, it is well worth it to make sure you take the time and do it properly. Okay, now we're going to do 4 back post double crochet decreases. Before I start those, I will put this stitch marker in to my first stitch of the round just so I don't forget. Okay, but we are going to go ahead and do our 4 front post double crochet decreases, switching to our main body at the end of the 4th front post double crochet decrease. Again, not locking the stitch. Okay, we're going to finish that round, or the repeat, I'm sorry, by doing 2 back post double crochets, and then you just continue with the pattern. So the start of the pattern was the 2 back post double crochets, switching to your third leaf color halfway through that second stitch. and then starting your front post double crochet and switch to your main color halfway through that front post double crochet. All right, so continue on, finish up the repeat, and I will meet back with you at the beginning of the next round. For the next round, we are again going to start with 2 back post double crochets, switching over to our third leaf color halfway through the second back post double crochet. Do a front post double crochet, switching to your main color halfway through it. 4 back post double crochets, switching to your second leaf color halfway through it. Halfway through your fourth back post double crochet stitch. Next, we're going to do 2 front post double crochet decrease stitches, and you're going to switch to your main color halfway through the final decrease stitch. Finish your repeat with 2 back post double crochets. Complete the round, and I will meet back with you at the beginning of the next round. In this round, we're going to start to we're going to increase our third set of leaves. So we're going to do 2 back post double crochets, and on the second one we're going to switch to our third leaf color halfway through. So we're going to do a front post double crochet, chain 1, front post double crochet all around that same stitch, and on the second front post double crochet we're going to switch back to our main color. Then we're going to do our 4 back post double crochets, switching to our second leaf color halfway through our 4th back post double crochet. Do a front post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches and switch back to your main color for the final yarn over and pull through. Do the last 2 back post double crochets of your repeat, and then start the repeat over, and I will meet you at the beginning of the next round. Okay, for this round you should still have your second leaf color attached. just because we need to pull up that loop, so make sure that you still have that second leaf color attached. We're going to start the round with 2 back post double crochets, switching over to our third leaf color halfway through the second stitch. Then you're going to do a front post double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet in that same chain space. Then you're going to do a front post double crochet, switching to your main color halfway through. You're going to do 4 back post double crochets, you're not going to switch over to your new, or I'm sorry, your second leaf color at the end of the 4th stitch though. So you're going to complete 4 full back post double crochets. Okay, you still want to stretch everything and loosen it, and I'll show you just to make sure that everything is correct with tension wise. So we're going to yarn over with our main color. We're going to do a back post double crochet around the top of the leaf. But when we go to draw up our next loop, we're going to make sure that it is the second leaf color that we're pulling up. Now this is where it gets tricky again. You yarn over with your main color, go through 2 loops. That's really tricky to do. Yarn over with your main color and then finish that back post double crochet. Now all you have to do is tighten down on that second leaf color, and then you have a nice completed leaf. Then we're going to go ahead and do 4 more back post double crochets, and you're going to switch over to your third leaf color at the end of the 4th back post double crochet. Again, we're tightening, loosening. And actually, so after that, it was 2 back post double crochets, so now we've started our next round. We've got our first 2 stitches of our next round done. So just go ahead and repeat up to this point, and then continue that all the way around, and I will meet you back at the start. Coming up to our next round, you should still be carrying your second and third leaf color along with your main color. So you're going to start with 2 back post double crochets, switching to your new color halfway through your second stitch. We're going to again increase our leaf. So we are going to do 2 front post double crochets. We're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that chain space. And then we're going to finish out our last 2 front post double crochets, switching to our main color halfway through the second front post double crochet. I'm going to put my stitch marker in place right away. Okay, and now we're going to just do, this is where you would work up your 5 stitches and then cut your second leaf color. You'd cut that yarn off, leaving a long tail, stuff it in your hat to be woven in later. But if we're just working with 2 colors, we are going to finish out our repeat. Again, it was the first 2 stitches, our leaf and increases, and then our 7 back post double crochets. So I just completed 5. If I were going to, I would cut off that tail like I said and weave it in. And then what you would be left with is just, again, the 2 colors. So if you had that 3rd color introduced in there and you were doing all different colors for your leaves, sections, then you would be left with just the 2 strands after you cut off and wove in. So go ahead and complete that repeat all the way around, and I will meet you back at the beginning of the next round. Okay, on to the next round. And now this is where your hat is going to start to move quickly. We are working on our decreases in between the leaves while we're still increasing our 3rd and final section of leaves. So in order to do this, we're going to start with a back post double crochet decrease, switching over to our 3rd leaf color halfway through at the very end of the stitch. Next, we need to continue our increase of our leaf, so we're going to do 3 front post double crochets. A double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that chain space, and then do 3 front post double crochets, switching over to your main color at the end of your 3rd front post double crochet. Now we're going to even out our leaf, our decrease. We're going to do another decrease right next to our leaf. So let me put this back in. Now this becomes our first stitch. I'm going to show you what we're going to do on the way back around, but let's stick to this round. We are going to do a back post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches. And then to finish out our round, we're going to do 5 back post double crochets. So then you're just going to repeat that all the way around. So we start with our back post double crochet decrease, switching over to our 3rd leaf color at the end of the stitch, and then continue to increase, do your back post double crochet decrease, 5 back post double crochets, and continue on. I will meet you at the end of this round. Do not finish that final stitch, and I will show you what we do there at the end of this round. So I wanted to pop back on and finish up my last couple of stitches with you. So I'm working on my back post double crochet decrease right next to my leaf. Okay. Now, instead of doing 5, we're going to do 4 back post double crochets. Now this is where I'm going to break, I feel like I'm breaking a rule, some kind of unwritten rule. Maybe it's written somewhere, I don't know. But it will give the best results, and it gives the most consistent looking results, so I do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a decrease here. I'm going to treat this as my first stitch, even though it's the last stitch of the round. I'm going to transfer it to the front. And all you're doing is just mentally telling yourself, okay, that's now my first stitch. So we're going to do a back post double crochet decrease over the last stitch of the previous round with the first stitch in the new round, just like that. And we're switching over to our third leaf color at the very end of that stitch. Okay, so again, we're going to put our stitch marker there. We're saying that's our first stitch. And now for the repeat. We are done increasing. So we did our back post double crochet decrease, and now we're going to do 8 front post double crochet stitches, switching to our main color at the end of the 8th front post double crochet. I really love that in crochet you can kind of come up with your own rules. Whatever you think is going to look good, you can just create. That kind of helped me really perfect this pattern, was thinking outside of, okay, well, you know, this is what I need to do. These are the rules and guidelines I need to stay within. So I love crochet for that reason. Okay, we're going to switch over. We're at the end of our 8th stitch. Picking up our main color, I'm going to loosen up. Again, I'm not going to tack it with that method I showed you on the first set of leaves. It was just kind of a way to get a little better results. But now you can see here's the decrease, so you want to make sure to work around both, that full solid stitch, okay? So we've got our back post double crochet decrease, just like so. And now you can see it's kind of just decreasing, but it gets hidden to the side of the leaf, which makes it look really good. Now we're going to work into the next 3. So you have 3 back post double crochets. And then you're at the start of the repeat again. So you're going to do your back post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches, 8 front post double crochets, a back post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches, and then 3 back post double crochets. Continue that all the way around, and we'll meet back with you at the start of the next round. Okay, coming up to the end of the row, and we're just going to complete the last 3 back post double crochets. Now we're not doing a decrease on this round because we're going to be doing our decreases through all our leaves, so we'll get quite a few decreases in through this round. Okay, so we're going to start the round with 1 back post double crochet, switching to our 3rd and final leaf color at the very end. Now we're going to do 4 front post double crochet decreases, and on the end of the 4th one we'll be switching to our main color again. So there's 1, whoops. 2, 3, and 4, switching to our main color at the very end. Okay, then we're going to do our 4 back post double crochets and repeat the pattern all the way around. So go ahead and repeat that pattern with your back post double crochet, switching into your final leaf color. And go on with your 4 front post double crochet decreases, and I will meet you at the end of that round. Okay, so I did not say it, but you do not want to crochet that last stitch. We're going to do another decrease here right at the start. So we're going to do, I did 1 back post double crochet. I'm going to do 2 more. So I'm going to end this round with 3 back post double crochets. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet decrease over the last stitch of this round and the first stitch of the next round. We want to keep the momentum of our decrease going and get our hat to start to really close up. So we're going to do our back post double crochet decrease, and we have to switch over, of course, to our final leaf color at the end of that stitch. Now we're going to do 2 front post double crochet decreases in a row. And we're going to end our second front post double crochet decrease by switching over to our main yarn. Again, you want to make sure that you kind of keep it loose back here so that it doesn't pull and pucker that leaf. Okay, so we're going to do, our next stitch will be a front post double crochet decrease. I'm sorry, a back post. I said that wrong. Back post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches. Then we're just going to do 1 back post double crochet and continue on with the pattern. So we'll have a back post double crochet decrease, our 2 front post double crochet decreases, back post double crochet decrease, and then just that individual back post double crochet. So we are decreasing here on almost every stitch around. This is really going to start to bring it together, but you'll see how this ends up at the very end. So go ahead and continue that repeat, and I'll meet back with you at the end of the round. Okay, for this round, I have done the back post double crochet decrease right next to my leaf. I'm going to do the final back post double crochet. Okay, for our next round, we're going to do the final decrease of our leaves. So we're going to do a back post double crochet, switching over to our final leaf color at the end of the stitch. Do a front post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches, switching over to your main color for the final yarn over. And then we're going to continue on and do 2 back post double crochets. So we're not going to do our decreases in between the leaves here. We're going to save that for the next round. So go ahead and finish up your final last 2 back post double crochets, and then begin that round again with a back post double crochet and then the front post double crochet decrease, and I will meet you back at the end of the round. Okay, you can tell we're getting real close to the end here, guys. So I did my last 2 back post double crochets. Back at the new start of the round, we're going to do our back post double crochet, but we're not going to switch to our 3rd leaf color. We're going to finish that stitch. We're going to start to do a back post double crochet around our leaf, but again, we're going to insert our hook, and then we're going to pull up the 3rd leaf color on our hook. Again, this can be tricky. You just have to practice it. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the final 2, and then you're just going to give that final color, that 3rd leaf color, a tug to really tighten it down. And put my stitch marker in before I get too far along into the first stitch. All right, now we're going to do a back post double crochet decrease around the next 2 stitches, and you are just going to simply repeat that all the way around. So I've got that. All right, so that's what that's going to look like. The last row will be real simple. You're going to do a back post double crochet. You're going to start to do your back post double crochet around the top of your final leaf set, but you're going to pull up your leaf color. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through the last 2, and really tighten that color down. And then do your back post double crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches. And I will meet back up with you at the beginning of the next round. Ending with my decrease of that round, and now I'm back at the start. Now what we can do is we're just going to do decreases all the way around. I'm just going to take my stitch marker out. I'm done with it now. I'm going to start with a back post double crochet decrease. And now this is where I can cut off my tail. This is how I would have done any of the other color changes previously, but we are officially done with our 2nd color. We've made it all the way around. So I'm going to trim this tail and then just leave it inside. So like I said before, I just am going to leave a nice long tail that I will weave in. I clip that off. I'm totally done with that. Guys, this got me through, this one skein of yarn got me through one section of leaves on another hat, and then all 3 of these. I had a brand new skein at that point, and I still have quite a bit of yarn left, and that 2nd layer is going to make it nice and warm. So if you are watching this to see what to do, I'm just going to tuck that in, and I will deal with it at the very end. I'll show you how I weave in my ends. I won't do any talking for it. I'll probably just play some music and let you watch as I weave my ends in. So again, I'm just going to continue to go around and around until, and continue to decrease at every single stitch until I feel like, okay, it's small enough to close up, which probably should just be this one time around, but we'll see. So I can see that I'm actually back at the start now because I've reached the 2nd layer up. So I'm going to do this final back post double crochet. That did get me to the start of the round. Now I think I'm good enough to just close it up, so I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do that. I am simply going to snip off a long enough tail. This one I'm going to leave a little bit longer so I can sew on the button as well after, and I'll show you the fur topper that I would like to use for this project. Okay, so now I have to close up this hole, and then I'm going to put on this awesome tag. This is one of my all-time favorite Christmas presents I ever received from anybody. My boyfriend knew I wanted leather tags, and he took the time to research the leather tags and pick these out and gave me a whole pack of them. This was 2 years ago, I think. Just one of my favorite gifts. So I'll put this on at the end too. And then these cute toppers, I'm going to link to those down below. Somebody had said they read the review and said that it had the wrong side going up, but I think they just were confused and put it upside down on their work. You get the male piece, you get the male piece sewn into the fur topper already, and then it will just snap into place. So these are so cool. I love these guys. That way, if you have to wash your hat, you can remove the fur topper and not have to worry about ruining it. It comes in a really cool pack of multiple colors. I think I got 2 of all the colors. I thought mine came in a pack of a dozen, so maybe I had other colors. I'm not really sure at this point. But I'll link to it down below, and then you can check it out for yourself. So I'm going to go for my smaller size needle since I have to pass it through, through this as well. And this way you can just keep the yarn on your needle, and you can close up the hole and stitch on the topper all at once. That's why I cut off a little bit of extra. Alright, so to stitch up your hole, all that I like to do for this is I just go around, so I go through those top loops, and then I'm just going to do the whip stitch just like this through each stitch. So again, you'll just have to keep an eye out with where your next stitch is, because you can tell I went through that one. So I just keep going around. And you want to do this when you have less than 12 stitches remaining, really. So, I mean, it's kind of pushing it. I could have gone around and done another decrease, but with the topper on top and everything, you won't even, it'll close up really nicely. So I just have this last one. You can tell that this one kind of, because that was a decrease stitch there, that's why it kind of loosened up like that. We'll really pull and tighten. So see how nice that hole looks. And then I'm just going to go back through this one. And there you have that. So you can leave it like this. That's totally fine. You've got a really nice closed up hole. You would just put this in the inside and then stitch up and then weave in all your ends. Like I said, I want to add this topper. So I'm just going to go ahead with it starting up like this, and I'm just going to start to stitch all the way around. So this part you kind of have to just eyeball where the center of that top is. So I'm going to do that. That's secured. This is the fun guessing game. There we go. So go ahead and just keep stitching all the way around. I am going to play the music while I do the rest of the hat so you can enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me down below. Let me know what you think of this pattern. I'm super proud of it. I've really adjusted it since coming up with the original design, I think in 2018. So let me know what you think.